I'll tell you something. There's something powerful Allah is teaching us. What He's teaching us is, don't ever see the calamities as troubles in life. See them as opportunities to rise to the level of the sabireen. You memorize that. Don't ever see calamities as troubles and burdens and hardships in life. Always see calamities as opportunities to rise in the sight of Allah up until you reach the level of as-sabireen. And even beyond that, al-rida, al-hamd. That's how you have to see a calamity. So that's why Bashir, get excited. Because these are moments, they're going to come, they're going to boost you. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that perhaps Allah has written a certain level in the paradise for someone, very high level. And his salat and fasting and zakat and Quran and dhikr will never get him to where Allah wants him. So Allah gives him a calamity, allows him to be patient, and that will boost him all the way until he reaches where Allah wants him to get. هذا hadith sahih. So they are what? Opportunities. Calamities are not troubles. They are opportunities. Give good news to the patient ones. And you know what? When the believers enter the paradise, the angels remind them of one thing they had that allowed them to enter the paradise. You know what it is? As-sabr. The angels on the doors of the paradise greet the believers. They welcome them as they enter. They say, Salamun alaykum bima sabartum fa ni'ma uqba ad-dar. The angels will say, greetings upon you people because of your patience. Not because of your salat. They didn't say, Salamun alaykum bima sallaytum, bima zakkaytum, bima sumtum. Oh, they say, welcome, greeting for you because of your patience. Because if you understand something carefully, all these worships require patience anyway. The one act that we are always supposed to be upon is as-sabr. You need sabr when you worship Allah Azza wa Jal. You can't pray 5 times a day without sabr. You need sabr when you dress appropriately and walk out in public. You can't do that without sabr. You need sabr in all of the prohibitions to keep away from them. Imagine every time you're tempted to do something haram, and then you say, you know what, now that's sabr. When you say, I'm not going to do the haram, that's sabr. And then the calamities of life require sabr. Everything in life requires sabr. To worship Allah, to keep away from the sins, the calamities in life. Even Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, وَجَزَاهُمْ بِمَا صَبَرُوا جَنَّةً وَحَرِيرًا. He gave them al-Jannah because of their patience. You see that? He says, أُولَٰئِكَ يُجْزَوْنَ الْغُرْفَةَ بِمَا صَبَرُوا. He says about the believers, they are worthy of special handmade castles and palaces in the paradise because of their sabr. So وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. We want that level. We want that quality in life. Now the big question. How do we practice patience, which is the minimum, the wajib, in order to pass all these calamities in life? Next ayah is going to define exactly what patience is. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ. The patient ones are those who, whenever they are afflicted with a calamity. You see, He said, إِذَا. إِذَا means when they are struck with a calamity. He did not say if, because the matter is not a matter of if it happens or not. This is a matter of when. When's the next calamity? It's coming, it's on the way. So, He says, the patient ones are those who, when they are struck with a calamity. Now, this part of the ayah teaches us the first step in how to practice patience during calamities. What is it? This first step is actually found in the word musibah, which means what? Calamity. Why was calamity called musibah? You know, the word musibah, it comes from the word asaba. And asaba, literally, linguistically, it means to hit the target. So if I had a bow and an arrow, and I observed the target carefully, and then I released the arrow, and it hit the target, I say, asaba al-hadaf. I've hit the target. A calamity is called a musibah because when Allah sends it to you, He intended you and no one else. You were the intended recipient, no one else. It was custom made and designed just for you. Yani, if people were in a car and an accident, قدر Allah, happens, and 3 were injured and 2 were not, it is haram to say, oh, if only I sat in the back, I would have avoided the... No. Mafi, something called if I was in the back, or if I did this, or if I did that. All of this is against the belief of the believer. We must believe whenever a calamity strikes, no matter where we are, that Allah had already intended this for you. Doesn't matter where you are, if you did things differently, if you ate something different, if you left earlier, all this doesn't matter. And this is very important, brothers and sisters. And that's the first step to reach as-sabr. Right then and there, you need to just stop and don't think of any ifs. Ubadah ibn as-Samit radiyallahu anhu, he said to his son, come here. He said, Ya bunay. He said to him, you will never believe until you fear Allah. And you will never fear Allah until you believe in the qadr, the divine decree, the good and the bad. Then he said to him, you will never believe in the divine decree, the good and the bad, until you believe that whatever struck you was never meant to miss you. And whatever missed you was never meant to strike you. And that's exactly what it means to believe in the qadr. You know how we say that the arkan al-iman an tu'mina billah wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi wal yawm al-akhir wal qadari khayrihi wa sharrih. When I ask you, what does it mean to believe in the qadr? Yani, what's expected? Do I just say I believe in the qadr? No. The core meaning of believing in the qadr, it means to actually believe that whatever struck you was never going to miss you, and whatever missed you was never going to strike you. ما أصابك لم يكن ليخطئك وما أخطأك لم يكن ليصيبك. That's at the core of the belief of al-qadr. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, ولا تقل لشيء لو أني فعلت كذا لكان كذا وكذا ولكن قل قدر الله وما شاء فعل فإن لو تفتح عمل الشيطان. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, never ever ever say if I did this and if I did that. When a calamity happens, don't open the door of if. Because the more if, you are weakening your belief in the qadr until it may disappear altogether. Because ifs are endless. How many ifs can you say? You can say 1,000 ifs. How's that going to resolve the problem? You're just weakening your belief. Rather, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, stop the ifs and say, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ وَمَا شَاءَ فَعَلْ. Just stop and say, Allah has decreed, and whatever He wills, He does. Then he said, this word if opens the door of the shaytan. That's when the hallucinations and the evil whispering starts coming to mind, and the troubles and the doubts and all of that creeps in. You want to keep away from that? Say قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ وَمَا شَاءَ فَعَلْ. That's the first step to reach as-sabr. Calamity hits, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ وَمَا شَاءَ فَعَلْ.